And I'm ready when you are, Paul. Okay? Good morning, everyone. We've moved to Tall Timber Ranch, so our photography isn't the best. It's not his fault. We just don't have the best equipment. If we had a lot of money, we'd have the best equipment. But we're going to do the best we can. We have a good audience, and I'm going to mix politics. But no, I can't, because in the truest sense, I cannot talk to you about those running for president. I can't do that. But I can work around it, because I'm a non-profit organization, and it's not just non-profit, it is a 501c3 equivalent to the Catholic Church. But we don't have millions of people, but we have millions of people listening everywhere. We can't track it all. But the foundation is picking up stations. In other words, the commercial stations are picking me up, which is quite remarkable. Talk radio is finished, sabotaged, purposely done so, especially talk radio, damaged. Anyway, let me just change the subject matter for something very important that no one will tell you. Nobody will talk about it. Israel, if I may use a word, is freaking out. It's a little country, and the world hates it. Why would the world hate a little country of noble people? Why would that be? Let me just play backwards and forwards between war and peace and you and make connections. Why would Jesus be picked out to be murdered? And of course he offered himself and could have got out of it because of his magic, because he was magic. But he fulfilled his purpose. He cried, take this off of me, Father, if you will. But thy will be done, not mine. And so, what we have here in America is the most terrible mistake this country has ever made. I'm going to go nice and slow, because you're got to get this. You have doomed yourself. It is too late. This country is done. And you can have all the people coming on the television and all the wonderful speeches. Trump may not even get to be voted on. The $150 billion to the Iranians is like surrender on the Muslim side. That's how it looks like, especially with the several SEALs. In that same day, he gave the lecture to the Congress. And the same day, our SEALs were captured and humiliated. This sends a signal to the streets in Muslim countries all over the country. It means we paid the tax because we wouldn't become Muslim. We paid the tax. That's the whole idea. See? That's the thing is you either get killed or you become a Muslim or you get taxed. Now we got taxed. Now it's all over. Obama is a traitor. Obama hates Israel. Obama is the enemy of Israel. Obama is the chief cook and bottle washer of this country. Then America is going to be at war with Israel. Israel has to attack first, correct? You can't wait. In England, we waited, and they struck first. But a little country like that, what can they do? They know they're being targeted. Russia is also on the side of Iran. Get it? So what do? Little tiny country. The Arab Emirates, what do they call it? Emirates, yes. And we got Egypt, we got they have others. But America, because of Obama, will become the enemy. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You can't help it. So what's going to happen to our country when you see this happening? You people love Israel. It's your Judeo-Christian system, albeit in shambles. See? Congress is the worst kind of human beings that's ever lived, lives there. Our conservatives are just as bad. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's all right. You're welcome. Any help is appreciated. So, all hell is about to break loose. They cannot wait. Little tiny country with very little support. They're not going to get support from him anymore. He has to strike because they made a pact with Iran. It has to be honored. It's going to be honored not because it's honorable. It was a wicked, wicked, wicked momentum. Wicked. There's no end to it. So what we're looking at now is the collapse of the United States of America. Civil war, compounded by war. It's only a matter of time, so get ready for the aftermath of the kind of bombs. You know the kind of bombs we're talking about. There won't be much left. Once it begins, it can't stop. It could have been stopped if the American media would have been honest and weren't communist or Marxist. And then, of course, they only became Marxists because of the schools. It's for simple, and universities, which we've allowed. And the borders are open. And so how many people would look like Mexicans with their beards shaved? How many ISIS, how many strong men, very young men have been coming into the country? You're being betrayed. Obama is asking to the police to send the military vehicles back. Why is he doing that? Because he's got an army of his own with Farrakhan. They're practicing in secret. He says he wants an army equivalent to the army itself, which goes right by over your head and forget it. So he's got 20 million burial bags what do they call that? They're burial
Body
bags.
bags.
Body bag.
Body bags, yes. And God knows how much ammunition, but most of it is for pistols. That tells you a lot, doesn't it? So whoever said what I'm saying on the TV, what is it? Nothing on TV. You need to be apprised of this, and I hope what I just said is spread quickly, because it can be saved. We have to, what's the word for bringing a president down?
Impeachment.
Impeachment, well, it's another one. Impeachment, it takes too long. What is the other one? He has to be ousted in some way.
Impeachment's the only thing I can think of.
Yes,
He has to be
but
ousted
there is
because
another one.
he's
You
committed
can force him to
treason.
resign.
He has committed treason.
Huh?
He has committed,
He's committed
Obama has committed treason,
course.
which is it goes beyond what he should be treated beyond impeachment. You can't, impeachment is for like an
treason. I know,
infraction.
it's impeachment, it's too good, it's too
No, it's a
good.
formality. No, he needs to be removed. Arrested.
Anyway,
I don't know.
but you see, do you believe most of the American people can see this? Yes, they do see it. They see what he is, and they see the possibility of it not as sordid as I just explained it.
Right.
But
Well,
still,
he's also effectively been able to use the black population as a battering ram.
that's correct.
So essentially, it's intimidation.
Yes.
It's silenced through intimidation,
You're all correct.
basically telling the American people, I mean, this endless litany of black peoples
No, no,
being disparaged
Okay, we got
falsely.
that. Now, what are the American people, what can the American people do? That's the question. What they should do is all stand up in a chorus. But the reason why they all know it, but they're intimidated by it. And because they're intimidated by it, they are appeasers. They become appeasers.
Yes.
You've seen it. You remember the couple that had, the married couple? I don't remember the names, they're too complicated for me. And they killed a lot of people having a Christmas party, right? And the people next door around them knew what was going on. And it's typical American. I don't want to look like a racist. So they turn the head the other way. Americans are, well, not all, of course, but they're, what's the word for politically correct? Political correctness is appeasement and cowardliness. And because of that, because of our political correctness, we have become cowards. Political correctness is a hypnotic state. The word political correct, I'll give you an example, if I can give you an example. How simple a suggestion can be. A certain lady came to my house the other day, and, excuse me, and she's a good friend, and we often talk and discuss things. And as she left, she said, I said to her, take care. Now I want to show you how hypnotic states, and ordinary people, intelligent people, good-looking people, bad-looking people, whatever it is, she realized when I said to her, take care. And then she suddenly realized, in other words, she's been getting better over the years and becoming a star, in a sense, in the light of God. You see, understand? This person is growing and becoming a real person from it being otherwise a long time ago. As many of you are getting better too, and realizing certain things for yourself. But things begin to come to the surface as you live in a good way, not reacting to people. It just comes to the surface. It's a matter of, regeneration. It's part of the regeneration thing is coming up. I see that. Oh, I see that. I see that. I see that. And bang, and as you see it, your illnesses disappear. In her case, it was breathing. See, okay. In other words, she was going to go to a very serious place where you have all kinds of paraphernalia put all over you. She became afraid of it. And when she saw the fear, it went away. When it went away, her problems disappeared, so she didn't have to go to all those trials and tribulations and machinery. Bang, just like that. Normal. Oxygen, beautiful. Wasn't before. Seconds before. Same person. Is growing, shares with me. So as she leaves my house, because she does some things for me, for the foundation, I said, take care, as I always do, in some way. And as she opened the door, it struck her that she was resentful towards me. What for? Because you said, take care. So what's wrong with that? Was it my father? I can't remember his father or mother. His mother, I think it was mother. Mother was very cruel. Very, very cruel. Lots of mothers are very cruel, and these days mothers are really, really cruel. And fathers are cruel, or they're big wimps, or the women are big wimps, or the men are big wimps, or the women are bullies, and the men are bullies. It depends upon the construct of each home. And then there's two bullies fighting each other, or two wimps that don't talk truth about it. Make sure that hush, hush, no truth, or peace. See? So she said, well, because my mother used to say, after she was degrading me, I'll add a word in there, beating me. I don't know what the whole thing is, but it was pretty bad. A very bad background. And so my mother used to say, take care, even though she's sort of beat her up, right? Now, just the word take care is perfectly innocent, but it turned into rebellion and hatred. So every time somebody says, take care, she didn't see it, but it added to her misery and suffering without her noticing it, without realizing it.
She was immediately conditioned.
Immediately reinforced whatever's wrong with her. But she caught it. And she said, talk to me about it. It was over. Another step forward. So what is it that don't you see how cunning, how clever Obama is? He does the same thing. He beats you up. Well, first of all, he's an appeaser to those who are appeased. You see? So he rewards appeasers. He rewards them. He rewards their laziness and entitles them. And they're mostly black. See? And so now you have an appeaser who believes that you have one kind of appeaser that feels that appeasing is love. Of course, they don't know what love is but they feel that because they are feeble, they do not know they're feeble. They just have a feeling of the bully. But the point is, they can't admit that they're cowards, but they love their enemy. But that's what happens when you are demoralized. You tend to love what you hate, and therefore embolden the hate object, which in our case is ISIS and Schmisis and all the rest of them, right? And so behind these people are the Congress and all of the brass all the way to the top, encouraging them to be appeasers, encouraging them for peace with the worst in the inhuman world. So when you do that, you've got a voting bloc which is very powerful, that people want peace. They think peace is peace. It's not. Yeah. It's not. But they know it. See? And I hope that when this program goes out, that you will understand that you've got to be very careful, because there are forces that will encourage you to be an appeaser because it works in favor of the enemy, who they are. The appeaser is only the victim. But if you stand behind the appeaser and say hooray and say what a wonderful person you are, they will become greater appeasers and vote for no war. Now look, there's another group of people. There's Jewish people. 71% of Jewish people voted for Obama. Now there's two types of Jews. The kind of Jew, and I'm Jewish, the kind of Jew that for centuries went from country to country and had to appease because they had no homeland. They had to go along to get along. That's what made them weak and smart. See, they survived. But they had to survive by being a appeaser, because it's not their country. And so, if you want some statistics, since 1500 to today, 1 out of every 2 Jewish people have been murdered. It didn't help them a lot, but it's all they knew how to do. But in Israel, pardon me, in Israel, you have a different Jew. You have the kind of Jew that Moses had. They came out of bondage, and he walked around the desert as if Moses didn't know what the desert was. He didn't go round and round because he didn't know where he was going. He was a prince of the desert. He knew what he was doing. He was waiting for the appeasers and the weaklings to die. Meanwhile, he was building an army of younger people. That's what the 40 years was all about. He killed 20,000 of them when he came down the mountain. 20,000 he killed and slaughtered them for worshipping the golden calf. And then the rest of them died off, because there's no psychiatry to fix that. There's no psychiatry to fix you today. And so to the degree that you are broken, to the degree that you have been upset, to the degree you have been broken as a child, there's no cure for it. There's no cure so when a person gets married, and if a man does not know how to be a man, he's a bully, he's a coward. But he's only a bully, a coward, because of the behavior he experienced from his parents fighting each other. And so Obama makes it nice and easy for us to have no-fault divorce. There it is. And so the women And here's the thing. Women now become emboldened and pisses off the man who just blows a cork, right? Because if you're living with a woman who pisses you off, if you pardon the expression, and feels emboldened, because women don't have the strength of a man. They're women. The women should be protected by men, loved by men, etc., etc. But then you've got schools that teach kids to have, put condoms on bananas and do all kinds of crazy things and introduce them to corruption. So what we have now is a corrupt country. And religion is fake. Christianity is fake. It's verses and chapters. We're not good enough. We're not strong enough. The tendency is, as I said, to go along to get along. And I gave a talk last week sometime about education. You can't educate religion into a person and it be what it should be. All you've got is a person who lives by verses and chapters and hasn't the foggiest idea what love is, what salvation is. It's just they're just all just simply walking machines. Just walking, I can't find the words for it.
Robotic.
Robotic, yes. Yes. They think they're but you see, what we've got here is good and evil. Human beings are good and evil. We've got a real evil, but not only in the world around us, but in our country. It's succeeded in disintegrating America. We are disintegrated. We are divided. And the only thing that is valuable now is the Second Amendment, which protects you from the first one. The trouble is that I'm not sure we see what I just said. I'm not sure that everybody sees it. And if they do see it, they're too caught up in their drugs and alcohol and fighting and fixing their family or trying to.
Yeah, there's a lot of endless frustration that's in this country.
Endless frustration.
People see some elements of it, and then the downfall every time is getting so enraged by it that they basically disable themselves.
It's one of the reasons why men, because women are, there's a war, each one has ego. Women have egos, men have egos. It's all a battle of ascendancy. And so, but normally speaking, in the old days when I came to America, women were more gracious. Men were kinder. And it was a nice place. But what Obama did through education, and I won't go into more than that, education, which is not really education, is a way of programming kids to become degenerates. See, and those who are not degenerate, meaning they appease, even in a family. If you have a family that has got war between husband and wife, and that's whoever the tyrant is, love some of those children, and not one other who has a good spirit in them. The parent who is like that will hate the bright child and push him aside, odd man out, and reward those who submit. And now, of course, it makes the child say, why does my mother and father love these kids? They're no damn good. One's in jail, and she's that sort of thing. Why is this? He begins to think that he's no good. And then it perhaps also wants to try to appease or rebel. But the point is, a lot of you sitting here have seen this in your own family. Your parents loving one group, person, and not you. And you are the most loyal. You're the most caring of your parents, but they seem to reject you or don't care about you. For some reason, you don't understand it. But it's grown to a huge thing now. There's so many people in this country demoralized. Even ordinary people sitting in this room can be demoralized and then do the demoralizing.
Yes.
And can't help it because they don't know they're doing it any more than my friend could grasp the fact that take care is a reinforcement for a whole bloody sickness. It's one of many. So you have to find out which one what is doing to you when. If you don't find that, she didn't see that moment where I said take care, but the magic is I'm a real person, if I may say so. I understand that. She understood that I understood it. She could tell me. She couldn't tell anybody else, could she? They would be very offended. So you've got to keep it to yourself. Because she doesn't know how to deal with the offense, which is not an offense. It's not meant. But she didn't see it anyway. She couldn't understand why she was getting worse, that, and 1,000 other things.
Roy?
Yes.
Hang on, I got it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are we getting somewhere here?
Yeah. Is it okay to stand here? Or?
Yes, that's very nice. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, 7 or 8 years ago I came here, and you helped me quite a bit with my life, my relationship. with
Can
my
you
wife.
speak louder? Because
7 or 8 years ago,
I have problems with my ears
No
because
problem.
earphones go in there for 50 years.
I got you. I'm with you.
So, go ahead.
No, 7 or 8 years ago, I used to come to these Sunday sessions. I came for about a year, and you helped me quite a bit, especially with my relationship with my wife,
Yes.
who is here today. She never came with me because I was probably the problem in the situation. But my life is much better today. And,
Thank God.
And, yes. But something has come up last October. My wife fainted at work, and she has an autoimmune disorder where the
You have?
Yes.
What is it? What?
The platelets in her blood do not clot. So she was bleeding internally.
Would
and-
you like to talk?
Yes, I would. That's why I brought her today. Thank
Okay,
you.
but that's what it's for here.
Yes.
And it was, instead of having one-on-one,
Yeah.
it's a whole audience. And the beauty is, as one person speaks of theirs, they recognize what they wouldn't have recognized. See? So I'm using you to help them.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you like to speak?
Sure. So I'm having an issue where I think my body is inflamed, and so it's creating antibodies.
Which is the gland or which is the offending part of your body?
I'm not sure, but my body's creating antibodies, and they're attaching to the platelets, and then the spleen is killing them off. So I think that perhaps
You're in for cancer,
it's not cancer.
but you'll be in for it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's what's really happening in cancer.
She's taking a chemotherapy now, which isn't really chemotherapy.
But chemotherapy, it's pretty close.
It is. No, it's very close.
I'm not a doctor.
No, I understand. We know you're not a doctor. We just need spiritual advice.
Yeah, but I understand more. I understand more than doctors do, because I have reduced all 150,000 diseases into maybe just a few.
Common denominator.
A common denominator. There's only one cause for every misery and suffering and war and disease on this earth. One cause, one root: disconnect from your Creator. You know how healthy animals are in the wild. Healthy as they can fight, they scrap, and they bleed, and they don't need any antibiotics. because they have an immune system. Your immune system is triggered every time you get upset. And if you continue being upset, The immune system has to go after whatever the problem is that enters. And you keep getting upset, it can't handle it anymore, and then you got some problem that you can't cure. It does a lot of curing in the beginning, but you don't notice it.
Yeah.
But if you keep getting upset, you're turning everything upside down. Instead of being a human being, you're becoming an inhuman being. I don't mean to be rude.
No, I didn't
No,
take it that way.
you are degenerating. Because animals don't have a choice between good and evil. It's flight or fight, roughly. Is that correct? And then when they run, and so when, I've been in Africa, so when the lion jumps on the impala, it's like a deer, and all the other impalas run, and they start eating, all the others are calm and watching their friends being eaten. It's all over because they've got what they want and they feel safe. So in other words, they don't carry fear with them. They don't carry anger like a lion. See, a lion isn't angry, so it's emotion, it's emotional force. And then you've got the victim who runs. And then if you have an elephant with a lion, well, maybe he does a little bit of running. See that? But when it's over, it's over. And it's natural. You run fast, you're a better animal. You escape. Or you eat the other person, you're a better animal, the other one pays the price for it. Everything eats each other. Human beings do the same thing. So, but our situation is unlike them. In other words, when we are offended and we come into the world, let me say it this way. A calf stays near the cow. They have a bond. We don't understand the bond because they don't talk to each other. We have language, and language can be destructive, especially when it's accompanied by cruelty and emotion. See, to a child. So we're not like animals. In a sense, we have an animal body, but we have a spiritual aspect called intuition. And the children are born with intuition. They come equipped with it. But the bright ones come into the world, you see the world around. If you go to all the country, America is the most, even today, preferable place to live, even though it's really rotten. It's really fallen away from what it was. But the whole idea is freedom of speech, you see, and the right to bear arms, and the right to turn on your gun if you have to. This is unparalleled in anywhere on this earth. It's only America. See, the right to bear arms means you're not going to be a victim. But if you were an appeaser, you're a victim. You would just give up your arms and then feel satisfied and more important, more gracious, except it was all lies. So that's it. So let me come back to my point. I'm just running all over the track, but we're coming back. So you were born in original sin. And the reason why I know it's true, because if you want you have to have two ostriches if you want more ostriches. If you have a Neanderthal man, you'll have Neanderthal children who grow up to be Neanderthal men and women, and that's the way it is. The last 10,000 years, human beings that look like us, think like us, didn't have as many benefits and inventions. But you could see Rome 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. Look at it, it was magnificent. They know what they could do. They are like us, but programmed to be Romans. And then you have people in England and other countries also just that they have to defend against the ones that have developed power. And, you know, and there's this search for power, to be more powerful. And the more powerful you are, the more guilt you feel. The higher you get in your mind, and the more self-righteous you become. And the self-righteousness is hungry for more power. This is true in our homes as well as it is with politicians. Same thing. No difference, it's just variation of the same theme. The more power you have, the more you give in to your wife, the bigger bitch she becomes. The more you give in to your husband, the more son of a bitch he is. See
You know,
that?
our problem, my wife and I mean,
Well, I'm coming to her. But you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, it's just a constant battle.
It's a constant war.
It's a constant war.
You have to win this war.
That's,
and so-
you're speaking directly to it.
Yeah, so Christians are not good enough because the bad guys are really bad. This time they're really, really bad. And bad makes people fearful. If Christians were real Christians, which means they have it in their hearts and not just in verses and chapters, they could overcome the overcomer. You don't want to mess with me, excuse me putting it that way. As big as you are, you don't want to mess with me.
I understand your authority.
You understand what I'm
it.
saying?
Yes, I do.
I will strike fear into the heart of a person without me knowing I'm doing it. They'd walk away. But push me a little bit, and just to see which reaction I have. Am I afraid? Am I get angry? Either one of those is inviting him to beat me. But if I don't, he's testing me. And if I pass the test and do not respond to his intimidation, he will feel something happening to him. So he cannot hurt me, and because he needs a meal. He's got to test to see what he's dealing with. And so when I don't react, which is necessary which is the flight or fight, but I shouldn't have one of those two. I have redemption. I have a redemption for my animal nature, but which is controlled by the evil spirit in the other animal natures. So they've lost their life force, each person in turn, all the way back to Paradise Lost, is doing unto others what was done to them. So you always have a duplicate. A duplicate Pisa, a duplicate bully. See that? Mm-hmm. So you got your duplicate bully, and this bully comes up to me and digs me to see where I'm coming from. And I don't. And then they will nearly walk away. Or, on top of that, if they walk away, they carry away something from me because they get upset, because they can't upset me. Because they're like an impala. What is that leopard-like animal, that cheetah? It only has about 2 or 3 shots to catch a prey. If it doesn't catch it, it dies from starvation. So if they can't get to me, they might turn to somebody else for their food. But in me, and not because I'm proud or anything like that, this is a gift. The gift is I can't respond to pressure. I don't know how. I don't know how to be angry. I know how to be strong, but I don't know how to be angry. You know, you can feel that one, can't you?
Scared the hell out of me.
I don't want to marry.
Anyway, now we come back to you. Because you have lots of hidden resentment and don't own up to it and project it onto him, which women do. Women are often more beaten than men are. And so therefore they grow up hating men. But they do need a man. They do need a man. It's natural. So the tendency is for you to be the appeaser. And if you're an appeaser, it tends to embolden the man. And if you give him sex, he wants more. He becomes addicted.
In my younger days, no
In
doubt.
your younger days, yeah. Yeah, but the point is...
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that-
And so the more it's the appeaser, if you're married, it now has the adversary right next to her. And a man, so the more she gives of herself, to hoping that he will love her back for the pleasure he gives, it's only made him an addiction to the pleasure. It's no longer normal. It's no longer normal sex. There's no caring for the woman. It's only the caring for yourself. I just want more, 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 more. See? And then she gives him more, 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 and she gives her life to you, and then she's hating. And the more she hates, the more she feels guilty. The more she feels guilty, the more she has to make up for the guilt by giving more and more and more. That is the way it works, whether it's sex or not.
Yeah.
Or you're going to give all your money. Same thing. No different. I have to do this once in a while. Big chief running nose. I've had that for 2 years. I don't know what it is yet. But I've been going through a lot of stuff, so my immune system is really taking care of it. That's all I have. No problem. I'm a whole man now, but I've been through the medical system, and I've seen how little they really know. How little they really know. And how the operation is unnecessary. Because it's necessary because you don't know what the root cause is, but the cause is not the symptom. But they treat the symptom as in isolation, as if it was the thing itself. It isn't. All you're doing is relieving the symptoms, letting them live longer. And so the longer you live, more angry you become, the more the immune system suffers. It's got too much to handle, and every one of them not fruitful. In the beginning, there's a little fruitfulness, but the anger and hostility is against the spiritual law of love. So, love your enemy. Now you've got Christianity. I'm going all over the place, but I'm making the point. Love your enemy. They think kissing their butt is loving your enemy. It's not. Love, don't hate your enemy. Love, don't hate. That's what it means. But when you read it, you think you ought to embrace your enemy, and your enemy's going to kill you. It works in war, and it works in peace. There's no peace. So you, young lady, have to learn to stop projecting your hatred of men onto the man you marry, because you can't help it. Because you get to be in the position where, especially in America, Obama place, all you have to do is just hardly do anything and you're in jail. So in other words, to intimidate you to be upset makes her a parasite. That's what it does. It would make her, or she becomes so frightened of you that you become dependent on that. But then you become more violent, or you become more of an appeaser. If you become more appeaser for sex, then she hates you for it. But then she wants love, real love, but you're not. It's called lust, and she feels dirty, and she feels dirty. She hates, and when she hates, he becomes an appeaser. And when he becomes an appeaser, please give me sex. I'll buy you a nice motorbike or something like that. I'll give you a nice fur coat. And she can't resist. And after a while, she wants to throw the coat and wrap him up and throw him in the ocean. There's no, we've got to, as a human being, you've got to become a real Christian, but it doesn't have to be Christian. It could be Jewish, but it doesn't have to be Jewish either, because Jesus came to bring redemption. He is the perfect man. There's never been a perfect man all up to the day of Jesus. Every man is like you and like me. We do not understand what we're dealing with. It's Eve. And we tend to, every man born of woman is the extension of the woman and not the extension of God. So there's something missing, but he feels need for love, and it happens to be sex. And sex looks like love. But so does drugs and drug pushers. Oh, that felt so good.
What's very interesting, Roy, too, you talk about the sex.
Pardon?
You talk about the sex. In my younger days, when I'd be angry at her, it would bring out those sexual feelings
Yes,
more.
it does. It awakens them.
It was so weird. I would notice that totally. I mean, all of a sudden I want to have sex, and I'm not trying to be rude here or anything,
Yeah,
but I just...
anger awakens. Anger awakens all the senses.
Yeah.
Hunger,
Yeah, okay.
food, anything. It awakens the senses.
Yeah.
It brings you down to the level of an animal and opens you to the world. To play with any one of those emotions, the 5 of them. See? So far, so good? So now, with your respect, I guarantee you all your money back. I won't get much because they didn't charge anything. But it's the way I'm being positive. If you will watch your irritation and become conscious, in other words, you prefer not to be conscious because you don't like to see what kind of person you become. So you bury it. And you've got a lot of the buried there. And you get buried with it if you're not careful. You start to lose your memory and all kinds of things. You start to bark at things and get angry at things. And maybe it isn't him. You're angry at yourself. And the angry at yourself is like fighting another person. It's a phantom person, and you're giving the phantom person identity inside you. And so this war goes on continuously inside you, and then there's nothing outside that's really doing it. You can just be sitting in a jail somewhere all by yourself and being angry with yourself all the time. See? And so this is the stress that destroys the immune system. It can't keep up with it. Because it's not human to be an animal without conflict. So that if you hide your conflict by making an excuse, for example, how many people make excuses? Nearly everybody, right? Don't even put your hand up. How many people make excuses? Don't put your hands up. An excuse implicitly implies that you have lied to yourself. But you didn't lie to yourself. It's the sin that makes a home in you that is entered you because when you were born, you see your parents and they're cruel or thoughtless or reject. Whatever the problems they are, they're just passing it on unconsciously to the next generation. And slowly but surely the generations regenerate. And so you got 2, 4, 16, 32, 64, 128, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you see why the country is falling apart. Because marriage doesn't work anymore. So shacking up, and shacking up is the same thing. There's no difference in it, except it's not in marriage. I've been married 64 years. When I said, till death do us part, I meant it. And it was simple to keep it. I wish I wouldn't have said that, though.
Shut up.
She's not so sick as you think she is.
I put in.
It ain't been easy.
It's not supposed to.
But the difference is, I learned. I wouldn't have learned all this if I hadn't married. I had to discover my weaknesses, see, and I saw the weaknesses of the women are trying to overcome the man, but she's unconsciously trying to overcome the man because she's always been put down. So she has to. So it's almost instinct, almost an implied instinct, to overcome the man. And to her death, she can't stop. The only thing that can stop her is what I said before: not react to it. I don't mean to be limp-wristed like this. Firm. Firm means what I say. Let her react, and to get you to react, stay where you are. You don't have to fight. Don't have to fight. You only have to not yield. Because then it frustrates her into silence sooner. But you have to stand a lot of that. In other words, the programming she's had is without, I don't know how to say it. We don't know the size of it, the number of experiences that build and build and build on top of each other and compound, and illness and crazy thoughts and all the rest of it, and judgments and keeping it to herself and not saying anything to you, blah, 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 blah. It goes with, everybody has that same problem. Everybody. There's not a person in this room that doesn't fit that. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
How many people understood that?
Oh, jeez.
All of you. You see, but now all of you can be controlled by Obama.
Yes.
Yep.
All he has to do is irritate you a little bit and start to create, meddle with your business. But what word I'm looking for? Economy, yeah. I'm sometimes short on words. Economy. And immediately the wife gets angry because you can't bring home enough money. For her, it's money and security. And not so much love, really. And so she's angry. Where's my money? How can I feed the kids? But nothing happens. It's not his fault. Obama's fault. So they start to fall out. And she goes on welfare. Kids get... Now, Obama is the father. The game that's being played with you, I can sit here 24 hours a day and show it to you all, but I've given you the basics of it. If you can learn how to not get upset by anything, somebody puts a knife in your face and you don't flinch, he doesn't know what to do. Unless he does it bang. But the point is, what he does, if somebody pulls a knife and stabs you, he's already sized you up. To stand there like a Jesus, let me put it so it's perfect. To stand there, unflappable, is your protection, and you don't see it. So I'm 88 years old. God knows what I've been through. God knows, you don't know it. It's too much. It's a story. It's my story. It's the story that God made for me to find out how the medical system is an American. It's to some degree, yes, it's valuable. But too much of it. We all have problems, and we need doctors. But the doctor should be. I have a doctor. His name is. Let me see.
Want me to tell you,
Yes, please.
Dr. Lowe's.
No, you're wrong. I don't know who that.
Which one?
The one in Canada.
Titus.
Huh?
Titus, Dr. Titus.
Dr. Titus.
That's it.
Dr. Richard Titus, yes. And he invited me up there to the. He's a professor, medicine. He invited me up there to Canada, McMaster's University, to speak to psychiatrists and physicists and doctors. And I was met quite well. I got the doctors to do a little meditation. And I told them ahead of time that you're going to die at 59, just like everybody else, roughly. As a doctor dies at 59, so policemen do around 59. And you don't have a full life, because how many of you have stress? They all put their hands up. I said, let me show you a little thing, how to overcome stress. And I gave my lecture, about an hour. They all listened. At the end of the hour, I said, would you like to try it? Most of them, no, they didn't want to. Would you like, I said, all I'm going to ask you to do is close your eyes and just make your fingers tingle. I said, anybody change their mind? Come off, why are you scared? The only difference between you and your patient is you can give yourself, drugs. You can write prescriptions for yourself. That's the only difference. You're only treating the symptom. You're not treating cause. I wanted to help you. I'm going to show you something very simple. So half of them put up their hands as they close your eyes and make your fingers tingle. You know how I do it on the radio. I said, 2-3 minutes later, I says, open your eyes. Does it look a little brighter? Mumble, blah, blah, blah. You said mumble, 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 mumble. Yes. Right? Is it a little clearer? Stress gone away? Yes. So what did I do? Then I explained it. And it was a nice round of applause. And Dr. Titus, Rick Titus, I call him. Why I forget his name, he's my friend. So what he did, he began to adapt to his medical work and various potions that are necessary, drugs. You said, take these drugs, but also I want you to take this cure stress device. And he has an apothecary. He has is it an apothecary there? Pharmacy. He has his own. So he writes a prescription. He goes and gets it and says, I want you to listen to this twice a day and take your medicine. So the very first person he did, man came in and said, Doctor, what have you done to me? He said, what do you mean? He says, I don't have a problem with my heart anymore. But you've helped my mind. My mind is clear. What is this? He's been using it ever since. You can always go to his site. He prescribes cure stress. It's magical. Because if you are with God, you're like, in a manner of speaking, if you don't mind me putting it this way, the animal is pure. The baby calf to the cow is pure. There's no right, there's no wrong. There's a bonding which we can't explain because there's no language, but there is a kind of language we can't fathom any more than a salmon can come home from being lost in the ocean. How the hell does he do this? I don't know. And pigeons do the same thing. But in the water it's even more difficult, right? So what I'm trying to say is that they have a natural life, and unless they're eaten, they don't die. Unless they run into poisons, red tides and things like that. So they never get sick. They never get sick. If they're sick, they die. So they have to be strong. But they can't be wrong like we can. So we have that problem. We have that, but we're born in sin. We're born into culture. And the first culture is God's culture. What is the laws of their land? I've lost it. Constitution. The Constitution is very close to the constitution of the heart. It's only for the bad guys. Constitution is for bad guys. Good guys don't need constitutions, right? So if we could find the constitution of the heart that Adam rejected to play God, knowledge of good, knowledge of evil, you can decide what right and wrong is, and you're God. And you put somebody on a pedestal, and you put them on the pedestal. You're God maker. You're greater than the God that you just made. Except sometimes the God that you just made will become a bigger God than you, because you cause him to love you, and then you keep doing things for him to love you, and pretty soon you're emboldening what you created. You can't win. You will die. And you all have the same problem. Everyone has got the same problem. Emotion. Love can't come through emotions. God's love can't come through. If you're angry, it can't come through. It's full of anger. The pipe is full. You can't be the agent of change. And so, and the love, the pleasure of leaving what hate has done, looking for pleasure to overcome the anxiety, because anxiety is how far away you are from God. And it's trying to pull you back, but you will pull away because you think your conscience is evil. But that's what the evil thing is telling you. And you trust it's called doubt. Upside down faith. See? Young lady, all I need you to do is meditate. Just use the 7-minute one. It will most likely work for most people. If not, spend $10 or I'll give it to you free if you can't afford it. I give it to free to everybody who can't afford it. But all you need is the extension, which was the original one. I just try to make it simpler, without verses and chapters, without religious words. There's no religious words in this meditation. None. Because it offends everybody. It even offends the Christians when they hear me say it. He's a Jew. What does he know about Christianity? Jesus was a Christian, a Jew. I didn't have to change my religion to. That's right. Well, I'm getting old. I'm doing good for getting old.
You're just starting.
Well, she knocks me down for a moment, and then she picks me up.
I don't want to hear him complain.
You gotta go home with her.
But I like to be lighthearted, because this is important stuff. Mm-hmm. So all you need to do is become conscious. Become conscious is close your eyes and look at your eyelids, and if you how can I say this? Close your eyes as if you're going to go to sleep, but in this case you're not going to go to sleep. You're going to stay awake, and if you stay awake and look at your eyelids, all of a sudden something happens. The consciousness steps back, because you're beginning to see pixels moving across the screen of your mind, which is like a thumb drive. It's loading up the brain. with program, but it's virtuous programming. It's redemptive programming. You can't read it any more than you can read whatever's in the cubicle. What does a computer? What a computer does. You can't hear all the zzz, it's like that. Whatever it is, you can't read it. It just works. And so it's what it's doing. It's causing you to stand back. But as you stand back, you're not going backwards. You're going forwards relative to God. Standing back is not back. It's forward in the kingdom of heaven. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. It's called relativity. You leave the relativeness of one to be relative to the other. And that's all it is. Nothing more than you doing that and being willing and having a heart that is open. If you have a heart that's not open, it won't work. It's only a matter of the inclination of the soul. So this simple thing has been outlawed. You can't find it anywhere. Religion grows and grows and grows. So you've got thousands of different preachers and rabbis. And Jesus says you have no need for anyone to teach you. The Holy Spirit will come and teach you all you need to know. That's how I learned everything I've learned. Now, I'll take it one step further. I'm just finishing the last chapter, which is the beginning. I've worked it from the back, from all the things that are obvious to all the things that are not obvious, the beginning. So I'm working towards the beginning. That's not easy, but it's amazingly easy. You think it'd be complicated. It begins with huge, huge simplicity. I'm going to send that to you. I'm almost finished with it now. I've done it over and over and 100 times, over and over. And I just keep away from it for a week. I think I've done it. Oh, not done. And I keep doing it, and every time I look at it, it's not done. Oh, it's done. It's looking better. Oh, still not done. Oh, and there's a word. Oh, this word should go here, and just one word makes a difference. Oh, there it is. I'm guided from within. So my brain is not capable of such an undertaking. But it is if I just let it show me. So I start to write to what I think it is. It's got a little truth in it. Then the truth gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think I've got it, but I haven't. I think I've got it, but I haven't. But it's a little better. All of a sudden, it falls into place. That's what's going to happen to you. You're going to do the same thing with yourself. You're going to just watch, stand back. The consciousness is released from its entanglement with the brain. So the brain is only as good as who is manipulating it. Is it the spoken word, the cruelty of the spoken word, or is it the unspoken word, the beauty of just knowing what you know without knowing why you know it? That's all you need. And then, I see that. You're having a shower. You're sitting on the toilet. And it's a very special moment. It all comes together. Well, you gotta have a little.
Roy, don't be like Mark.
No, stop. Oh, we're not going to take you with me next time. You keep talking. Remember, you promised not to talk tonight.
That's true.
Yes,
Sorry.
Okay, you're welcome. You see what I'm getting at now? You're going to be seeing it. In other words, you're going to get better every day. And the first thing you see is about you. Is that, I see, I did it to him. What I did. You only have to see it and not get angry. The average person sees it and gets angry for this. Yeah.
From when you're little.
big tripping point.
That's a big trip.
It is a big trip. Big trip.
How many people understood that? Look at you. I keep saying it over and over again.
Yeah.
Be angry at the self, but the self is another person growing up inside you.
Yeah.
You're feeding him.
Yes.
You're feeding yourself to that person.
Yeah.
Who did it to you? It's just an embryo, or whatever it is in the beginning.
Yeah, this is so beyond, this is a gift. And until one really starts to understand that this is a gift that's being given, and that your only responsibility is to be conscious. And the meditation just helps you to be conscious of what's going on.
That's all.
And that everything else, all the programming, everything going on in your head, you just have to watch. The thing is you are a victim of it, and at the same time, there's a sweetness because you realize that the good Lord is showing you what the heck's going on inside your head, and that all you do is you're just willing to see it.
You wait
And you
see.
wait, right.
In other words,
And you don't make excuses, and you just basically see what's going on. Because the deal is that I've spent a lot of time trying to step on the way with my unconscious programming, trying to make things better. Always
you don't know
make it
what
worse.
better is.
No, you don't. You don't.
Only he knows what's better.
No, the only thing that I know and that takes me back to my center is that this is a gift. And if it's a gift, it's an unmerited gift that he's willing to give to me. And I have to wait his time and space to let it have its full meaning work in my life.
Seek first the kingdom of God,
Yes,
and all other things to be added.
yes,
But most people seek the things to be added first.
yes,
That's will,
right,
willfulness,
right,
and frustration. Damned if you get it, damned if you don't.
right.
Because if you get it, oh, whoopee, and all of a sudden whoopee dies away too. Oh, I need more. And then set another goal, and you're further and further and further away. Who was that guy that had this big airplane with its 8 engines?
Oh, Howard Hughes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he died crazy.
Yeah.
He got more and more and more, and he got crazy.
He was a genius too.
Genius.
He was absolute genius. He did things that were like
That's how genius
amazing.
die.
Yeah.
Too clever.
Yeah.
By half. So, how much have you understood me?
I understood quite a bit.
Could you
So-
tell me what you think would help you then?
Well,
Now-
I've been doing the meditation exercise, but it seems like I'm able to tune out most of what you're saying for almost the whole
There you go.
time. I mean, once in a while, I wake up and then I see, oh, there's music and there's thoughts and I'm daydreaming most of the time.
But
And
there's no
so,
life. That's no life.
no,
There's no life.
no,
You're as good as dead.
yes,
The precious part of you is the ability to observe. The animals, they only see things, but they don't understand anything. They see something and eat, I'm hungry. You know, that's it. You see something, he fights. And then he sits and is asleep. And he doesn't even know he's asleep, and he doesn't know he's awake. It's not like our consciousness. Even your dog looks like, he's loyal, but he's only loyal because you give him the biscuits. See, like people. Same thing. See, so the secret is hold on to awareness. And it's a gift of looking at the universe. Let me be, I don't know, romantic. Okay. But I look at life. Why life? What magic is in life in a blade of grass? It's alive. It's a living thing. I remember a story which you may have heard before. And there's a discussion between God and the devil. And the devil was mocking God, says, I can make people just like you. He said, oh, yes. Let's see you do it. So he bends down to pick up the dirt. He said, you've got to make that first. Now you look at it, look, I'm a romantic kind of person, not in the usual sense with the women. Romantic in a sense is that I appreciate that creation comes from nothing. And I can prove that it does come from nothing in a sense. I'll give you a little clue. Would you like a little clue?
Sure.
Well, you do need heat. You need something got in the beginning. Look at how this matches. In the beginning, God said, "Let there be light." Right? Oh no, in the beginning darkness was on the face of the deep, if I got it right, right? And then God says, "Let there be light." We stop there for a minute. That is an equation. I'll show you the equation. Ready? You can't prove it, I can prove it. I've almost finished with this. In the beginning, there was the infinitely hot singularity. The physicists said that what made the Big Bang, right, was something infinitely small, infinitely hot. The word infinitely. How do you get something infinitely hot, even if it isn't the universe? They said the universe is in the size of a pinhead. They are pinheads. Because how do they know how big it is? It has to be huge. If you look at the pinhead from a long way away, it's a pinhead. It could be a massive sun, but it looks like a pinhead. Look at the stars. They're not pinheads. They're a long way away. And then where does the infinitely hot come from? They call that the singularity. I think they're mostly finished with the Big Bang. It's insane. Because if you have a Big Bang, then it's like a nuclear bomb. It doesn't create structure. It destroys structure. You cannot have structure with a bang. I start off, you stupid fools. Who do you think you are? It's relative. How far away you are from what is hot. But there is such a thing as the infinitely hot singularity. That's the language they use. But they have to acknowledge something that, because you can't make it, there's no such thing as cold. It's just degrees of hot into colder and colder and colder. So it's all heat, less and less and less. But there is a place called the void. In the beginning there was the void, and darkness is on the face of the deep, right? So therefore, there is a realm, you can't describe it, you have no idea, but the realm is infinite, the realm of cold, the realm of nothing is nothing, but it's an infinite nothing. It's got to be infinite. All of a sudden comes an infinitely hot something. You've got two infinites. One is infinitely hot, one is infinitely void. And instead of an explosion, energy flows very quickly into the void forever. That's the first gravity. There you go. I won't tell you more than that. So you've got a machine in the sky, hot, flowing into the cold, into the obliging ocean. You have a river, you have a lake, and you have rain to supply it. This is an analogy. So you have river flowing into the accommodating ocean. What happens if you didn't have an ocean? You wouldn't have a river, it would all stop. It wouldn't be any flowing. The void is just as important as the hot. So you got a machine in the sky, in what is not a sky. You got void, there's no gravity there, but gravity flows into the infinite cold, into it, and makes it fruitful. It's the beginning. One string, one force, and then it turns into a universe which I will not describe. But I know every move of that. But I never went to school. All I ever did was watch and watch and watch it, or watching TV, flipping through a book, turning the Bible over and looking at the speed reading, buying. I hear a baby cry. That's interesting. Why did I remember that? I see a dandelion seed floating by. That's interesting. Why do I remember that? I see a leaf fall. Right? Spins. It's interesting. Why would it spin? How did it get to? How did that little dandelion seed know how to fly like a parachute? How does it know how to do this? What are you talking about? Evolution is not even alive like me. All different plants with all their immune systems, right? Poison or whatever it is, defenses. I'm wondering. I love the wondering. It's what gives me to wonder. The consciousness is beautiful. It's a gift to be conscious, because God is like a artist, a painter. What do you call another word for painter?
Sculptor?
No, just painting. It's all right, any kind of creation. So, you know, if you have a beautiful painting, Mona Lisa is a horrible painting. Ugly bitch. Why do you pick her? I don't know. You didn't want to discriminate.
He actually was a fantastic artist.
He was.
He was
But there's plenty of people who
unbelievable.
could do just as good to him today. I guarantee you.
All right, whatever.
Yeah. But now where was I going with that? Oh, yes. So if you see a picture, the Mona Lisa, how long ago was that done? Several centuries ago, right? You can't say it painted itself. Can you? No. Then somebody had to paint it. If you stand on the moon and you see a painting or some device that's very clever, and you say, oh, that's interesting, we don't have what's on this on our planet. So some intelligent being is here. Well, so that's interesting. I made that. But he's forgot he's standing on the moon. God it had to be made. Something had to make it. So now you go back to infinitely hot, into the infinitely cold. There's a beginning and a beginner. Because how do you get the hot there that's infinite? The cold is infinite already. But the infinite hot appearing into the cold is magic. And it's not just an ordinary oven or furnace, it is programmed. It's a programmed singularity. So everything comes from it. Everything. Everything comes from it. There's only one, there's no more two theories. There's a clash between Einstein and others who understand the little things that spin. I can't remember how the wording at this moment. But there's two theories about the universe. They clash. And the clash is still there. I can make these two one. What's going on in spinning down there is still going on spinning here. That's how you can explain everything that's spinning. In the big and the small, just more of them put together is a bigger spin. That's all there is to it. They got an E drive. I'm just playing a little bit with some ideas here. They've got an M drive. NASA has made a drive for a spacecraft, small one, and it doesn't need any energy, and it's got a force, but they have a problem with the physics. The laws of physics are now under suspicion. They're confused because the force, the thrust is there, but no resistance. For every forward action is an equal opposite, right? But there is no opposite reaction. It's just nothing there. There's nothing to run into. There's no pressure in its forward motion. So they don't understand what's going on. They've tapped into gravity. They're pulling it through and turning it into like a jet plane. It's like a jet. It comes in and blows out the other side. See, so it multiplies. Except you don't need any fuel. Now, if they would call me, they can't patent that. They're puzzled. It's the laws of conservation. I don't know what law it was. It's a law. For every more forward motion, there's an equal opposite reaction. So they have a scientific way of saying that.
Right.
And so they're puzzled. They can't go forward, and they can't patent it without the reason for it. I've got the reason. Then they can patent it. It's been that way since 2001. They can't do anything with it because it defies the laws, their laws of physics. And I'm losing the words, the special words that I need to say. Forgive me. I know what I'm saying. So you can grasp it.
Yeah.
See? So it's like a jet. But they're actually taking gravity, which is the fuel. I've always said gravity is fuel. It made the whole universe out of it. You just have to learn and understand it. You have to understand its beginning to understand anything. That's what I've got. And so I'm going to keep that part. So I'm not going to publish that part. Some of it I've published already, but it's not complete. But if I put all of it together, it is complete. Okay. So anyway, I'm only making a point about you. I do not need to learn from any person. I don't. If it's in the spoken word, if it's in the written word, and for example, I'll go back to the beginning. Love your enemy. Careful. Love does not describe it perfectly. There's a mistranslation. In those days, there's several words for love, see? And they understood what love was in the purest sense. But when you put it down, love your enemy, well, it comes back to kissing their butt, doesn't it? And going along, which is deadly, deadly. So Christians tend to be that way. And no match for, you see, Christians are being killed by the thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's just because they love their enemy. They don't arm themselves. They don't understand there's real evil in the world. They don't understand they encourage evil in the world by being so weak, and feeble, and mindless, and stupid, or stupefied. I don't have an enemy. I could knock somebody's head off and have a cup of tea afterwards and a ham sandwich. I'm Jewish. It wouldn't bother me to blow your brain out if you try to come to my house and do harm, or my country. It's just swatting a fly. That's how I see it. That's how the Israelites. Israel is under that. They have to fight. Who wants to kill? I don't want to kill, but sometimes you have to. And if you are strong inside, if as a nation we have a strong nation of people understanding, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. See the difference? what we do is we do unto others what was done to us. That is what's wrong. And we cannot stop it. And you cannot see it. And you destroy each other. And those forces playing with you and reinforcing that in you. And then what's even worse, psychiatrists, psychologists, seeing all the symptoms that's producing, are treating it, see, and you're getting sicker and sicker and sicker and more dependent on drugs. Look at it. Never used to be that way.
Medicating an entire generation of young boys on Ritalin, it's just unbelievable.
I know.
Yeah.
And then nobody stood up,
Yeah.
except me.
Yeah,
You stupid bastards, I say. I'm sorry.
yeah. No, I've donated to my, I have a grandson, and the one request I've made to my son and daughter-in-law, I said, no matter what, I said, do not send my grandson to public school. You know, it's absolutely,
Never,
ever.
It's too late.
It is. I mean,
It's too late now, it's all done.
It's just
Amen.
terrible.
Roy,
Now you're going to have to kill the kids who are going to kill the parents. See that?
Yeah.
Roy, I have,
They're monsters.
sorry, Bill, I didn't mean.
Let's go ahead.
Maybe I'm changing the subject a little, but I feel like I bear some responsibility to what has happened to my wife. And I have not been, I've been as good as I could be, which is not good enough, as you often say.
Yes.
And in fact, you married us, Roy, back in 1977 in Los Angeles.
I did?
Yes. And
You're not too ugly. I could recognize you a little bit.
so, anyway, there's been.
Just wait a little while longer. I won't recognize you.
That's it. But it's been but because I haven't been the man I should have been.
Yes.
No question. And this has happened to my wife now. And I look back at my life and I don't want her, I listen to Roy Masters, and there's something that comes through Roy Masters which I really respect. But I'm not respectable, and my wife sees me listening to you sometimes, and
She sees you as an ordinary guy.
ordinary guy.
Yeah.
I am.
She
But-
sees me as an ordinary guy yet, because still is, still there.
Yeah.
The hatred of men.
Well, you've hit something that's very deep in
You
her,
want
I
to tell me
know.
what kind of life you had as a child?
Here.
I had, my parents didn't care about us that much. It was not a horrible upbringing. They
But
just
tell
were
me-
kind of,
Tell me when you started to think like you.
I think it must have been
What
around,
was the circumstance?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I think it was around 11 or 12 years old. I wasn't abused, never beaten or
All
anything.
right, fair enough. You don't have to be beaten to be messed up here.
And I have a feeling, my mom was kind of standoffish and cold, and I just probably felt maybe not real loved and probably resented my parents for it.
That's interesting. Could you describe real cold?
Well, not a lot of hugs, and just wasn't, they took care of us physically, of course, gave us clothing and food, but not.
Mechanically.
Yes,
There was there's no warmth.
no, more
No
interested in what
genuine warmth,
they
no
were
sweet-
doing.
Yes.
And my dad drank, and, we
Did he drink
resent.
a lot?
Yes, and we resented
Well,
him
then
for
you have a
that.
drunken father.
I had a drunken father,
And
yeah,
then you have an uncaring mother.
exactly. And so,
They really pushed education big time, and she was good at it.
So why do you think your mother kind of rejected you and just did it, mechanically?
I don't know. Probably her upbringing. I think her dad died when she was very young, and her mom remarried and had more children. So she was perhaps not loved much when she was a child also, and
But
just
that
didn't
would
know how.
That would normally make her want to love, to make up her mind. When I grow up, you heard me say that lots of times on the radio. When I grow up, I'm not going to be like my mean mother or my father.
Yes.
I'm going to be the bestest wife or bestest husband anybody can be, and then you love too much, and then you got problems. Or then you don't love it. See, the choice is either love or hate. And so you can be afraid of love because it sometimes betrays you. See that? There's all kinds of variations to this. But there's only two things. love, I mean, let's go back and let's sort of wrap this up a little bit. What time is it really?
11:45.
Is
Quarter
it
to 12.
Quarter
Quarter
to
to 12.
quarter to 12? Well, you've been here almost 2 hours. So we've got to wind this thing up. So let's make the point. When the Bible says, love your enemy, it doesn't mean to say, kiss him and yes, I can love my enemy. I don't hate my enemy. I don't hate my adversary. I don't hate my wife. She's my adversary. She can't help it. I understand that. So I don't take it personally, but I don't put up with it. Do you see what I mean? I did that easier. Otherwise it looks kind of rough. No, but the point is, no means no. And then there's rebellion. And then it goes wrong. Rebellion, 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 rebellion. Now that could drive a person mad. Women drive men mad. And when a man is a woman, she drives the woman mad. She, in you, drives her mad. See, because you tend to be more female after a while, because you don't know how to be a male. So you tend to be kind, but the kindness isn't pure. It's trying to understand her and trying to do the best you can with kindness. But she's not ready for this. The person, my wife has never been, 64 years, she has not known what she was doing to irritate, to affect the way my kids were raised. Because I'm not there all the time. So the little games that get played, like ice cream, don't have ice cream. I'll give you an example. There's a saying, something about a mouse.
When the cat's away, the mice are at play.
Say it again? Yeah.
When the cat's away,
The cat's away, the mice. Thank you very much for that one. I just was still just running around. See, so when a husband goes to work, the woman is in charge of the kids. And what happens to the kids from the mother, for the lack of the father to play the role that he needs to? In other words, what children hate the most in their father is when the mother's cruel and confusing, that he doesn't stand in and say, excuse me, but you can't do this to our son.
We would do that,
See,
but there's
Huge
but
arguments.
you can't do anything if
Yeah.
you're working.
But
That's where the mischief is done, when you're gone. That's where the mischief is done and you can't correct it. And you don't even know what's happened. So one of the things I remember then is just a good example. She would say, eat your dinner and I'll give you ice cream. I said, what is this? This is dangerous. This is the beginning of entitlement, see, or control. Eat your dinner. I said, no, you do not do this, and don't you do this again. Well, come back one day, and it happened. But the villain didn't get the punishment, the blame. The kids get it, because you catch the kids eating the ice cream when I said we're not going to have any more ice cream, because it's happened several times. So I find the ice cream in there, and so it looks like they're the bad person when the mother bought it for them. See that? She doesn't say, I bought it, it's my fault. The kids get how complex these things are. It's always important never to lose your cool when you find out betrayed, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. You need to have the perfect love. Now, perfect love is not weak. You have to understand, it just cannot be undone. It just cannot be overcome. It holds its ground as if it was the cliffs of Dover, crashing, the water crashed, the waves crashing against it and breaking. That's what happens, so that the person who does this, wife, anybody, but wife necessarily or husband, if the husband gives in or the wife gives in, see, or if the wife is the cruel one, let me get it started again. If the husband is the cruel one and the wife is the victim, if she stays her ground and not get angry, as if nothing happened, yet to the person who wants that pound of flesh, that pint of spiritual blood, they need that. A person who's a bully needs your life force. And they have to upset you. They have to seduce you and then say, go boo. And suddenly you see you've been had. And there's the anger, and there's the energy you give off. And he feeds on that. You can't see it, but you ever heard the experiments? But I don't know what came over me. I'm not myself lately. It's all those different things, see? And so it's so important, because the magic of the gift is you have a choice between no man, it's the scripture. You cannot have two masters. You will hate one and love the other. So when you start to react, you're giving your life force to that person and to stand over you as a force that you cannot resist. So if you can step back, you'll find the force that cannot be overcome in you. And the more you stand your ground, the more God loves you. The more God loves you, the more you can stand your ground. So it is a process of first looking at your own fault. So as you become conscious, you will see your mistake. And you'll say, I never saw that before. And you're not angry. And you know you can't do anything about it. All you're required is to see it. And to be happy to see it. But not happy. Oh, it's just like, wow. And you don't even think of God, maybe. You don't have to. It is gracious. It's to be happy, to be glad, to see it. But no glad, in the way you configure glad. It's not an emotion. It's, wow, that's interesting. It's gone. Now, the minute that goes away, somebody comes around the corner and tries to take you down. You find immediately that you have a power you never had before. And so now, at the very moment that that person can't add to your problem. And so it continues so that you can't add to the problem and your problem melts away. And so that the metaphysical self, the dark metaphysical self, begins to melt and become vapor and imagery and memory. See that? Otherwise you have a dark, miserable self that's always talking to you and making you do stupid things and making you responsible for its stupid things. Because it's almost like, if to put it in simple terms, the devil is there and he would affect the whole human race, because there'd be wars and wars upon wars upon wars, so that there's nobody left to inherit the kingdom. That's not going to happen, but it's coming to that. It's trials and tribulations. It has to come to that ending. And if America does not grasp, if Americans do not grasp what I'm saying, which is so simple, close your eyes, make your fingers tingle, but not everybody will get it. Most of you will get it, a percentage of you will not get it. Usually 1/3 to 2/3, hopefully, because 2/3 means you have a free country. See? So it's not going to happen unless it's that way. So I can figure out roughly what the percentage is. 2/3, see? And so, unless America understands this, I mean, if they do understand it, their sicknesses will disappear, and they will be like the animal that never dies from any sickness except it runs too slow. See? And gets eaten. But otherwise, they make it. The elephant lives to 100 years old. And he has all kinds of scars on him for lions jumping on him, but he doesn't need any antibiotics. Because he's not so angry all the time. He's angry only when he needs to be angry, and it's all over. But it's not over with us. Anger is infection. Infection. The minute you get irritated, it's lifelong. It's a hypnotic state. That's where my interest in the hypnosis. I didn't understand how I could make... I'm in the military. I'm in training. At Maidstone, Kent. That's where... So there's 10,000 men there. I didn't have to clean my shoes. I didn't have to oil my rifle. I didn't have to clean the rifle. I could do everything I wanted with everybody in that room. And it's because I would take over their minds. I thought this was... Then I could take in a dance hall. You could have the band tuning up and people drinking and talking. I can hypnotize and do my show there and make people do exactly what I want and make them... give them my thoughts so that they think it's theirs. And that's what's wrong with us. Your thoughts are not yours. You're being spoken through because you've been mesmerized as a kid by trauma. Trauma is temptation and pressure. And it lasts you for the whole of your life. It builds and builds and builds and struggles. And you get drugs and you get doctors and they make it worse and you start to hate the doctor. Well, I think I've just made my point. It's only one thing you've got to do, is sit still and know I'm God. The scripture says it, be still. What does be still mean? I just shared with you, close your eyes, look at your eyelids. Beware of your fingers. Why? When you see this in prayer, assumably, and you see in pictures of paintings of the past, like people like this, right? Well, that's how they did it. Tingle, 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 tingle. And that's all there was to it. Because what was happening is, standing back, your soul becomes a lens to shine energy. What's the energy I'm talking about? It is words sometimes fail me. Bear with me. Antidote. It's an antidote to stress. His love is the antidote to the unloving, the stressor. And the stressor cannot have his way. But the more he tries, the more he gets upset for failing to succeed until he runs out of energy. And instead of him imprinting me, the fact that he's upset with me means I haven't tried to upset you. You're upset because you can't eat me. And therefore, if you're upset, you're the extension of me, whether you like it or not. But here's the magic, where if I got upset, I got two choices. I can run, I can fight, and I can never stop running, and I can never stop fighting. I'm finished. When he does that to me, and I don't get upset, it upsets him because he can't upset me. He's failed. He's failed. And then the minute he fails, he gets upset. He's angry with me. The minute he gets angry with me, what he try to put in me bounces back, if in a manner of speaking. It doesn't quite do that. Something goes into him, and now he's got a different set of choices. He can die struggling to hate me and turning around and doing it to others because he couldn't do it to me, and he gets worse and worse and worse and more frustrated. But the point is, with me especially, if you hate a person who's decent, like a Jesus, it will kill you. It will literally kill you over a period of time. There are so many different ways that you will die from it. You can't tell which one it is. Whether you can run off the road, whether you can fall asleep in the car. Something. I could tell you some stories you wouldn't believe. But that sounds like bragging. I don't want to do that. But you see, in other words, the choice he has is to say, you know what, you're right. But maybe they get angry, but the anger creates the guilt because there's something good in them. See that? There's something good that's going to be angry, there's guilt. And then he says, I can tell you what he says to himself. Why did I be angry with Roy? He did nothing to me. And now I've got a friend. Got it? So, in other words, there's a good side to it where there's no good side if you're angry. See that? Mm-hmm. It's getting clearer?
Yeah. Good talk.
You like that? I thank you very much. Look, we have sandwiches and coffee. We can't leave you high and dry. You know, so whatever you want to give, you give. If you don't, I don't want to see it. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.